Good afternoon. San Diego State men's basketball here. We got a great announcement regarding feeding San Diego right here in our backyard. We decided as a team with the Mesa Foundation to make a donation towards creating more opportunities, more places for Feeding San Diego to operate. So yeah, we're just excited to be here and announce that with my teammates.
Nick, where's this money coming from?
This is a donation on behalf of the whole team. We came together as a team and decided that we wanted to give a little bit of our money to the organization and just to give back to the community because at the end of the day, without the community, we're nothing here.
We went to Hoover High School, and we just saw a lot of kids out there helping distribute food, and they had a system together, and we just came out there and practically helped them. And just to see that they were able to help, without, spending a lot of money, and we saw that we could help in a way they couldn't, so we, started ideating and brainstorming to put together the funds to be able to, help them even more. We went to Feed San Diego as well, and just to see, the amount of people that need, it just inspired us to be able to give more. So that's what we did.
Where's the money coming from?
This is from the Mesa Foundation. Mesa Foundation, like I said earlier, they put us in a position to go out in the community and do different opportunities to help the community. And when we went to Hoover High School, like Jared said, they had a system called Feeding San Diego where kids in each classroom would come through a kind of like a drive-through where we would put the bags together and they would pick up groceries for their family. So it was kind of eye-opening just to see how many kids needed groceries and needed to provide for their families at such a young age and how much of an opportunity and blessing, Feeding San Diego's was in that school. So we spoke to them, Mesa Foundation, and they wanted to create more places to do it, and we decided to come together and help.
Nick, obviously that event at Hoover impacted you emotionally. Were you surprised? Kind of take us inside your emotions. When you saw that, did that touch something inside you that made you wanted to take this next step?
Yeah, I mean, usually when you talk about like NIL and different opportunities to help in the community, you don't really realize, how serious sometimes it is. And just to see so many kids line up outside and get groceries for their families and they like, I don't know for myself, I had to work in the line where we had to find out how many family members were in each household, and just to see how many family members were in each household and how many groceries they needed to feed each other, especially, in a time like Thanksgiving. Like, I mean, these are just like produce that we take for granted. And it was definitely eye-opening.
Jared, a lot of people say, not me, but people say NIL is what's wrong with college basketball. This is a flip of that, a juxtaposition where you can say this is something that's good for the NIL. Can you speak to that?
I think it's just all about perspective. I think, when they talk about how NIL is bad for basketball, I think they are referring to like the negative connotations on, the selfishness within college athletes and, I'm going to this school and hopping in the transfer portal for this amount of money. And I think if you just look at it as a means of, we're doing things and Mesa is giving us the opportunity to be able to connect with the community, and you see the community needs and you have the means to be able to give back, like why not? And I feel like that's when you have the opportunity or the resources to do so, you can give back. NIL is a means to give back, a means to, do what you need to do for your family, do what you need to do for people who need it, and as well, it's a reward for self. So,
Kimo, jump in here.
I just want to say that, Mesa Foundation is donating this money, but this is them giving back money that they're getting from their own NIL. This is not just Mesa Foundation. This is money that they've decided to take out of what they're getting in NIL money to give back to the community. And when we started this search for an NIL identity and Mesa Foundation filled that void, we wanted to do something that gave back to our community of San Diego. We wanted underprivileged camps. We wanted Feed San Diego. We wanted blood drives. And so people will invest something that they think will better the city and better the people in the city. And that's what Mesa Foundation is about. It's about helping these young guys, but having a vision of giving back to San Diego. And so why would they not get caught up in that same mission and give of their own selves? And sometimes, I go to a lot of charity events, and everybody holds up the paddle for the biggest amount of money. Yeah, everybody likes that, but any amount of giving at all makes a difference. And so what level they gave at, I don't know. I don't ask that question. But giving is giving. And so that last paddle up means as much as that first paddle. And so they're giving back of their own money to make a difference in their community. And it just means a lot to me as a coach to be a part of something like that.
Kimo, I want to ask you just from your perspective, coming from a school that probably didn't have NIL to one that does have some NIL, and as you looked across the country and saw all these basketball players getting, 6 figures, 7 figures, you don't hear about a whole team giving back. I mean, what is your perspective on this, and do you hope that maybe more teams around the country see you do this?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like what we did was very good, and I'm sure a lot of other teams would really try to replicate that. So being a San Diego kid, growing up, you know how much the city supports the Aztecs. So being on the vice verse of that side, that didn't make any sense. Being on the other side of that, we just want to get back to the community. So it was very easy. I mean, we put it up to vote, and it was a quick decision. So we're happy to do that.
And is it each of you are giving individually, or did you give a percentage? How did you come to decide?
We all received texts from the foundation, and you were asked if you wanted to donate, and I believe everybody did. Everybody went with their own amount, so we didn't really disclose within the team, but yeah, everybody gave back.
Allison Glader, Glader. I'm sorry.
And it's Allison?
Allison.
2 L's?
Yes. Do you just want to ask questions, or do you want me to speak? Or?
Could you explain first what your organization does?
Sure. Feeding San Diego is a hunger relief organization here in San Diego. It's a partner of Feeding America on the national level, and we are focusing on very different areas within the community that really need our help right now, one being our school pantry program, Feeding Kids, which is exactly what these amazing members of the basketball team did. They came to one of our school pantries at Hoover High School. They rolled up their sleeves, they packed the food, they were matched up with a student who actually is one that helps distribute the food, and together they handed out 300 grocery bags of food, fresh produce, shelf-stable items for kids, for their families, and for the surrounding community, which had a huge impact. And you should have seen these kids. I mean, they couldn't even believe this team was out on their campus and in there rolling up their sleeves. They all had their crossed out hunger shirts on, and they were all, it was pretty incredible. So we were very, very, very appreciative of that.
How many of these programs do you have across?
So right now, Feeding San Diego has 51 school pantry programs across the county, and we have a wait list of 45 schools right now. So these kids coming together and donating their NIL money to help fund another school pantry and help get a school off the wait list and receive the food is hugely inspirational, and especially during the holidays, because we actually have a match right now. So their donations are actually going to be doubled, which is huge. So every dollar is 4 meals. So they're going to make a huge, huge contribution to the community.
How much does it roughly cost to start one of these up?
Well, it depends on the size of the school. It depends on the frequency. So $25,000 to $50,000 is what a school pantry costs to operate for an entire school year. And that is to help families that are also needing help. They do it during drop-off or pickup, so it's really easy for these families to come. They can just come while they're picking up their kid or dropping off and get food for not just, lots of times we used to see people would get the backpack programs, which are still wonderful, but it's not just the one student that's at the school that needs help. You figure like their siblings, the parents, everybody needs food. So instead of doing that, we have grocery bags of food and shelf-stable items so people can actually have dinner for a week, 2 weeks at a time. And you hear all the time, you hear about mothers, fathers skipping meals for their kids. And so these school pantries are a lifeline for a lot of these families.
Allison, if someone sees this and becomes inspired, how do they get involved?
If you go to feedingsandiego.org, and just as the coach said, every action counts. It doesn't, if you donate, that's amazing. We obviously are very, very appreciative of any sort of monetary donation, but you can also volunteer. We have a huge distribution center where we're distributing 30 million meals a year. So you can go into the warehouse, you can go out in the community, you can hand out food, spread the word, just let people know that Feeding San Diego is doing these different distributions across the county, and if somebody can help, great. Or if there's someone that is in need of food assistance also, you go to Feeding San Diego and you can see the closest food distribution to them.
So these players come to Hoover and
Yeah.
they help out, and you're very grateful and thankful
Yeah.
they come. What was your reaction when you found out that they were actually going to give some of their NIL money
Yeah.
back to you to start another program?
Well, I was shocked because, I mean, I can tell you, these kids, they're kids, you know, and the fact that they're college kids and they're thinking about helping other kids in their community is such a huge inspiration. I mean, when we were at Hoover, you could see that these kids are giving food to some of the same age as these players, right? So to have them on their own come together, decide that they wanted to support this cause, it was all led by them, and to have it be Feeding San Diego is, I mean, you don't hear stories like that, especially right now. So it's just a huge inspiration, and hopefully it inspires a lot of other people to do the same thing across the country.
How familiar are you with how NIL works in college athletics and how college athletes are actually getting paid? And it sort of has this stigma that, you know, these players are really selfish. And how much, or were you aware of that, and how much did that factor into your surprise when they came to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think just exactly what they said. I mean, the fact that they can, it's you know, they're being able to give back to the community also, it's not a negative, it can be a positive. So to take, you know, people seem to always want to find the negative, but there's so much good that's coming out of it as well. And so for these players to go ahead and take that, you know, their money and you know, every single player coming together to give whatever they could give. I mean, as a team, that's just is incredible.
What's the average age of your donors who support Team San Diego? Is it
Not the college, not college kids mostly. I mean, that's what's so neat about it. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's just the fact that they are doing this, inspiring hopefully so many other youth across the county to do something. You know, the average age donor is probably double their age at least, so it's pretty neat.
Hey, Allison, you mentioned 30 million a year, and I
Yeah.
think on your website, are you guys up to nearly 400 million meals since you started?
Yes, yes. So Feeding San Diego is, I think, 17 years old now. So over 400 million meals we've distributed this to date. And as you can see, as I talked about the school pantry program, the wait list grows. We were at Camp Pendleton helping feed military families over the holidays. That list of area of people that need food are growing. Seniors, I mean, it's really you know, San Diego is a very expensive city to live in. And so we see at all of our sites across the county the need increasing. So having these kinds of things happen and hopefully taking it and showing the rest of the community that everyone can get involved and every action counts will help us make sure we can feed more people.
At a school like Hoover, how many students will come get a box or
Well, Hoover is, well, it's interesting, you know, one of the coaches is from Hoover, and his picture was on the wall and all the things, and that school is in a big area of need, but there's, I think, 1,800 students there, and it's about 300 kids that get food. Yeah. Yeah, I think, I mean, that's what we were talking about, the face of hunger. People don't, you know, hunger is silent, right? So you don't know who the people are in need. It could be fellow players on the team. It could be someone you're sitting next to in your classroom you don't know. So having the marketplace, which is another thing Hoover, and so it wasn't a stigma to receiving food. So there's they have the food distribution, but there's also a marketplace where we give excess food to, and then kids, if they need to come home at night and grab a, you know, pasta and some sauce to take home to make sure they have dinner on the table, then they can do that.
How did you find out that they were going to do this?
Well, I worked with the Mesa Foundation. They're incredible. So I met the Mesa Foundation, Wendy and Caroline and the whole group, and they were incredible. And they came to Feeding San Diego, and we talked about ways to get to work together. And we talked about different programs that we had. And this Hoover High School was really something that's, you know, it's right here in our own backyard. And so they helped coordinate. They got a bus of, you know, the bus came, picked up the kids. They even brought pizza for the whole school, and the kids got to meet they were elated to meet the team, and we're so thankful to them. So they helped bring us all together, and hopefully now there's a lot more we can do together.